Good morning. 11:01 a.m., November 12th, 2022 on a Saturday morning. I'm going to look here to get a audio confirmation in a moment. You can tell me in chat. I got it there. I have not actually started the Zoom session yet. I think there's a couple people there waiting perhaps. And we have a few topics today. Oh, I just saw buffering. Let's see, is everything okay? I'm going to go take a look and see what YouTube is telling me about stream health. It says health is, stream is healthy. And I see Alia is asking the chat room there about a Nook model. Tony says AVDVR good. Now I'm going to set up that technique for keeping a chat window over here on XSplit, because I think that's something that I need to do regularly so that you guys can let me know if there's a problem. Jonathan is asking topic 1 and 2. We will definitely go down that road. And I'm going to come over here and bring up one other screen. I've got a list of topics in the description for those of you who aren't already aware of that. And I'm going to see here, I'm actually going to put two chat windows open. See if I can do that. It should let me do that, because I'll be able to read one and display what's on there from this one and keep this one over XSplit. So I'm going to go catch up with chat before I even bring the Zoom folks in. And here we go. Yeah, so I see that it cut off some of the very beginning chat room stuff again. If I can see them up here. Yeah, started with Robert this morning, and Dennis letting me know that he sent an email. We've already had interchange about that. Hello, boss. So hello, Dennis. Hello, Robert. And that's my messages back to Dennis. Hello, Darren. Arnold Albert. I added Arnold's topic to the list of topics as well. Now, with Dennis's, I put his as number 1 and 2 because it was early enough that I could renumber them all. Arnold's I put at the bottom. That didn't mean to slight that at all. I want to get to Arnold's topic. As a matter of fact, I've done some show prep for that topic. But I added him to the end because I didn't want to renumber everything, because sometimes people ask for topics based upon number. Then, hello, Alias Tope says hello. And he's recommending Acronis over Macrium Reflect. I'd be curious to discuss why he thinks that Acronis is easier for that particular operation. Or is it just that that's what he's comfortable with? And is that just what you know, Alias, or actually have you compared what keystroke for this particular process that Arnold was asking for? And but anyway, your opinion's welcome. But I would like to know if it's specifically for that procedure. Let's see, Mooring, my Zoom is connected to your meeting. Yeah, so Dennis is already in the Zoom session. And Tony Wallow, hello. Jeff Ryman. They're trying to troubleshoot graphics card that are a kill. What? Still watching Adamant. Dennis is very loyal to Adamant on Saturday mornings. Am I pronouncing that right? Adamant IT. Yeah, I think so. They are trying to troubleshoot graphics card that are kill. Yeah, maybe a graphics card that are dead. I don't know what that means. Kill in quotes. People saying hello to each other. William Dawson, hello. Jonathan there. And people saying hello to each other. Ken's listening while driving. It seems to be a common theme for him on Saturdays. Rick, hello from central Minnesota. Icy roads, car accidents piling up. Had one rollover already. I hope that doesn't mean one of the cars that he's driven today he's rolled over. I don't think that's what he means at all. People saying hello to each other. Rick Lakes, Jonathan, William again. Never been on ice roads before. I hope the best of luck to not be one of the adding numbers on the roads. Take care. Whoops, did this just jump on me? Yeah, it did. We haven't got to 11 a.m. yet. Then I'll switch over to the other screen. Wintermead, hello. And here's Alias Teve asking about the Nook particular model. Is it worth it to buy or not? The only thing I could say about that, because I'm not an expert in Nook at all, is does it do what you need a device to do for a price that you consider affordable? Beyond that, you have to get specific about what you're trying to do with it. Is there some other product that would do what you're trying to do better for a better value? That's a very generic, high-level answer. I don't know if that's what you're going for. I think you probably need to have more conversation about that. If you'd like to come into the Zoom session, Alias, just send me an email, DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com, to ask for the Zoom credentials. Audio and video are good. Jonathan asking topic 1 and 2. Now let's bring up this easier to read chat window. Now that I'm up to... Oh, these didn't start at 11. They did go back about an hour. Yeah, it's jumping again on me. There's Alias's question. DVR good. Audio video 1 and 2. Data sheet on Intel's website says it's DDR5 only, so you'd have to be doing DDR5. Yes, Tehran, Israel. Let's say it'll only be a problem if you don't have a DDR5 and you don't want to pay the price for DDR5 memory. If you're trying to use DDR4 memory that you have on hand, it's not going to work. Still expensive compared to DDR4. Yeah, that's the point. DDR5 is more expensive. What's the price? Chris Garrett, hello. Did I miss any names? Speedy C, hello. And so hit me in orange or with the 3 question marks if you want to be sure I catch something, that I read something that you say, because at some point I'm going to start skipping some messages. Alias says Acronis is easier for me, so that would imply that he's tried both and favors Acronis. It wouldn't be easier for me. I tried Acronis and wasn't willing to spend the time. A little different interface for how to use it. I was already very comfortable with Mac Memory Reflect, so I didn't give Acronis much time. But I know that Acronis, the free version, the only free version they have now is when you get a free version with a drive that you purchase. So on other devices, you're going to have to pay for it. I pay for Mac Memory Reflect anyway for my own computers and for clients' computers that absolutely need backup. But sometimes I'll put on the free version of Mac Memory Reflect on a computer that we wouldn't bother backing it up if we were going to have to pay for it. Wintermute says $2,199, too much for me, and that's for the Nook itself. So if that apparently is a higher end Nook. So if you need it to perform at that higher end level, it has to be worth it to pay for you, according to your wallet. For somebody else that was maybe just going to use it for basic web browsing or in basic level software, they would say no, it's not worth it for them. Potts. Oh, hello, Potts. Potts is a frequent player with us in Fortnite. I don't know that I've seen him before, but I'm going to turn him blue so that way next time I see him, I'll know that that he's been here before. So, Potts, that makes you a moderator, but I don't really expect you to do moderator duties with that. It's just people showing up in blue says they've been around for a while, and I trust them to not be, what, mean and rude to people. Ken says he's home, and hello to everyone. Jim is running behind in DVR mode, about 5 to 7 minutes to catch up. And good morning. And Dennis says hello to Potts. Potts a really good Fortnite player. For those who don't know, Dennis and I play Fortnite. We live stream Fortnite every day. Every day. 7 a.m. Pacific time. Every day except for Saturdays, in which case it's 5 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, Zoom. Let's go bring Zoom people in. Wow. Yeah, we got people there in Zoom. Take me a moment to make some adjustments here. Oh, I can do this since I'm doing that split screen business. I can do this adjustment without it being live on broadcast. So I'll bring them in over here. Do we have audio? There's Dennis. Dennis, can you say hello?
Hello.
There is actually audio there.
So did it actually work?
Yes, it worked. And hello, Jeff.
Ken is fading into the green, literally.
Yeah, he's kind of not all present. I think better lighting might make that work better. But anyway, hello, Ken.
Hold on, I will be there in a minute. I'm just kind of fading in today.
Yeah, you're just not all there. Maybe you
not myself.
Change your shirt.
More substantial breakfast. And hello, Wintermute.
Hello.
So Dennis has already brought a topic to us. Do any of the others have a topic to bring? Okay, I'm going to assume you're here to participate. So Ken,
actually, I do toward the end if I would like to share something.
Yeah, Ken, did you just turn your lights on?
Yeah, that's all I did.
It made a substantial difference. That gives the camera enough capability to discern what is you and what is background and get a better.
Yeah, Doug, I have one thing I'd like to mention.
All right.
I was backing up some stuff manually yesterday, just with an Xcopy command in a batch file I use, and it copied a leftover backup file from Excel, one of those that starts with the little squiggle mark and all of that, and I could not get those to delete easily, and since I had another copy of some of the other files, I ended up deleting the entire folder in the place it was and then recopying all the files except that one from another location.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if you know a good way to get rid of those pesky backup files when one of them is sort of a leftover, like if you broke out of Excel or the system crashed or whatever and just left it there.
Was Excel still open at the time?
No.
All right.
This was a spreadsheet I hadn't used in, I don't know, a couple of years, actually.
Oh, all right. So did you maybe use an attrib command to see if there are any flags set for the file?
I didn't think to do that.
Next beyond that, there are some utilities that do a more forceful delete of files that are stubborn.
I went to the command line, which was the only place I could actually see it part of the time. Okay. Do a dir/a to show all the files.
Okay.
It would show up, but I didn't see it in Windows Explorer.
Okay, so if you just do a regular dir without the /a, does the file show up in a DOS dir command?
No.
All right. Sounds like it's got that hidden attribute, maybe even a system file attribute of something that's
it's interesting because I had the Windows Explorer set to show hidden files. So anyway, I brute forced it by just getting the whole folder gone and then recreating it. But that was kind of an awkward way to have to do it.
Yeah. I can't
It's weird. If you could delete the folder, then you
The
should be able to delete the
attribute,
file.
yeah,
It would have stopped you. Should have stopped you from
the
doing the
attribute
folder.
command is a good suggestion. I would have thought of that if I were still back in DOS days.
Right.
All right. Appreciate the thought.
Sure. Jim, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so let's go to Dennis's topic. Now, I was kind of mixed feelings about whether to give a full disclosure at the beginning, but we'll go through his issue, but I'll give a disclaimer up front here that he has already solved it. He has found the solution, but I want to give y'all some time to speculate because there's a whole lot of other interesting possibilities to the issue that he was dealing with. Take another look at chat here. Oh, I see. When I started futzing around with Zoom, I lost that chat window on top of XSplit. Well, we got another one to say hello to. See if he's got audio on. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Doug. Good morning for you.
Welcome.
Good afternoon for most
Yeah.
people.
All right. We got good afternoon for normals. Good morning for Doug. All right. Check here and see if there's anything I need to catch up with. People saying hellos. Don't look right. He never did. That's all directed at Ken. Ken not there. Yeah. And then Aliaz 13900K is an i9 13900K. So that would be the processor in that NUC that he's interested in, I suppose. All right. So then let's come to Dennis's subject. I'm going to go to the description in the video. Right here. Topics 1 and 2 are from Dennis Thompson. When cloning a fully activated Windows 11 installation from a SATA SSD to my shiny new Kingston 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, and I go to boot from it, I get blue screen saying inaccessible boot device. I tried all the standard fixes from the internet using a Windows PreInstallation environment to no avail. So that's the main issue, and that's the one that he has solved. But before we find out what his solution was, I'd like to give people an opportunity to speculate what possible solutions might be for that, or what direction you might go. So you could do that in chat, or you could do that in Zoom. I'll turn to the Zoomies in a couple moments here, but I'm going to first read as number 2. When installing Windows on that same NVMe drive, all goes well until it comes time to activate. Looks like I have hit my global max for my Microsoft account. It will not activate. My SATA SSD is, of course, fully activated on the same hardware with some variations, but nothing I thought would trip an activation. So that brings up some other possibilities and interesting conversations. So let's start with this one. So the people in Zoom, what do you have to say about this? Now I had my list of thoughts.
Well, the second one sounds like he gave up on the first one and reinstalled Windows directly on the NVMe drive, but that might be a mistaken assumption on my part.
No, that was my alternate solution, but I found out last night I couldn't activate. Oh, let me explain how I'm activating it. I'm using an old key from old hardware that I've retired, and I tried using the key through the troubleshooting procedure. The first activation worked fine on that SATA SSD. I did the same procedure. That activation worked, but when I tried it on the NVMe drive, it said no can do, sir.
Same key for both.
Yeah, it should be. The hardware variations include a different graphics card, and more spinning drives are in there now. But other than that, it's the same.
So both drives were put in the same hardware otherwise. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
You didn't change a motherboard.
Nope.
The MAC address, I've not seen that personally. on a graphics card.
MAC address. Well, the motherboard's the same, processor's the same, memory's the same.
But you did add a graphics
The
card.
drives are different.
I did change the graphics card.
They're more concerned about the onboard NICs than they are about the graphics card. Did you change the processor?
Nope, it's the same
You should not have
processor.
kicked it off. I personally never had a kick off on a graphics card. Never. Or a drive.
Was it the same version of Windows 11, meaning Home or Pro?
They're both. I'm dealing with Pro editions.
On both.
Same
Okay.
version, like 21H2 or
They're all 22H2.
How about trying the new installation with the original graphics card?
I could try that. But right now, I'm not. Right now, I have my solution is working at the moment, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Agreed. But my thinking on that is that when they were telling us, when Microsoft went to this digital activation, it kind of came out, in my perception, it kind of came out that it was based upon the motherboard and CPU combination. But I'm not aware that Microsoft ever actually declared that. I don't think they wanted to release the specific technical details about how they do the activation, the digital license, and is it possible that it does include something that got affected by the graphics card? And that's why I'd want to test for the old graphics card if you were still trying to pursue that.
Now, sadly, the graphics card did not work in a second machine, but it should work in the one I had it in originally. Yeah,
All right.
the last few days.
All right. Was it perhaps an older graphics card?
Yeah, the other graphics card, the old AMD R7 350, $100 job. The one I have, the NVIDIA card I just put in there is GTX 950.
Well, since we've kind of started talking about item number 2, let me go to another thing that you brought up there about hitting your global max for your Microsoft account. When you are signing in a computer to Microsoft account, there is a place in your Microsoft account where it records that computer, and I have had to go back and delete obsolete computers because there is some limit there.
For 365.
Yeah, for Microsoft 365, that should be that's not a part of Windows activation. That's for Microsoft 365. So when you're saying your global max for Microsoft account, can you give more of what you're referring to there?
That's Windows activations and how many I've done over the past 10 years or so. They're all Windows 7 onwards. Anything that the Microsoft account recognizes as a digital license are probably all listed there.
Oh, excuse me. That's going to be an enterprise license. That's not. I mean, we get that with volume license. It works sometimes, but never to home. I've never seen global max. It's a one license.
I'm just assuming it's some sort of maximum I hit. So.
Oh, okay. So that's that was
probably
an
just
assumption.
I'm assuming it because I use the same source computer for transferring the key.
Yeah.
After it failed to activate. And it said, no, you can't do that.
Is that an exact quote?
No,
I doubt that's an exact quote.
It didn't exactly say that.
But you're saying it implied somehow you can't do that. So what is the exact verbiage? Maybe you don't have that.
It said, I tried getting it from the same machine name, my Ryzen 3. I call it the Ryzen 3, the new one. And Let me think about that for a minute. I need to
Okay.
think about that.
All right. Nothing new in chat. So I'm going to look more at this, trying to not interfere with Dennis's thinking. When installing Windows on that same NVMe drive, all goes well until it comes to time to activate. Okay, well, that would mean that it actually fully installed and booted up to a non-activated Windows desktop. And it's Windows 11, and he's doing it with a Microsoft account. So he wasn't using any method to bypass using a Microsoft account.
I actually forgot the exact verbiage, but it said, well, it basically said after troubleshooting, we can't activate this license at this time. Something
Okay,
like that.
that sounds like a more generic answer, not really being specific about any kind of maximum. It just failed to activate. It was trying to activate based upon your digital license that's already associated with with that hardware in your Microsoft account, or did you at that point had you already tried to put in a license code from what you're referring to and that you had used previously?
For the new one, it should. I assumed again that it would. When I hooked up to the internet, I assumed it would automatically activate because I had it previously activated. But
Right.
it did not activate.
When you got to the point about where it asked for a product key during the installation, you said, "I don't have a product key," right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So when it came up to the Windows desktop, it was not activated, and the thing that stands out most to me is that it was the different graphics card, because it's supposed to automatically activate. I'd never heard of any global limit to the number of times that you can do this, that you can do a Windows activation using the same Microsoft account. That's I'm hard pressed to imagine that.
I have several computers in here, and every one of them have activated multiple times.
I do
Because
have
I've had to
quick
change
question.
something, change our hard drive or something.
Where was the original key bought?
That key came from my Gigabyte machine, which came from that was my 107. Wait a minute. Oh, I said 107 Pro key originally.
All right. So you
Where
upgraded.
did you? I mean, was it bought from Microsoft retail?
Oh, where did I buy it? Some retailer in the States. I
I mean,
forget
it was
who
a
it was.
retail
Microsoft.
Microsoft wrapped key, not a third-party key.
It may be from Newegg or something like that.
Okay, if
I
it was Newegg,
I didn't back in the day. I didn't even know that there was gray keys out there.
yeah, because gray keys are usually stolen enterprise or volume license keys, and that will get a global max if you're using it again. Because we've had that. The last place I worked, I had to cancel multi-thousand keys, and if you went to reuse that key next year, no good, because we couldn't use it.
So that the origin of that license coming from a Windows 7 might have been something specific about that is causing an issue. Now, isn't there also something about if you buy it in previous versions of Windows, if you buy an actual retail license, that it was only good for one computer. So once that license gets upgraded to Windows 11 on a computer, well, no, that's digital license for that hardware, and you wouldn't be able to use that Windows 7 license on another computer to upgrade that other computer.
I think retail you could use on multiple computers, but as long as you deactivate it on the first one. I mean, but it's the
OEM,
you can't use
right?
on
It's the
multiple
OEM
computers.
you can't use on multiple computers. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, looking at the rest of that question number 2. Okay, we discussed that piece. It will not activate. We discussed my SATA SSD, of course, fully active on the same hardware with some variations. And he's told us what that is the graphics card and some other drives that are connected. But nothing I thought would trip in activation. Okay.
I agree. It's probably the graphics card that tripped it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Even though my other activation hasn't tripped yet, but my computer's turned off right now. It may trip at any moment. Who knows?
All right. William Dawson says, my understanding was that a complete picture of the system, not knowing everything he changed on his system, just the video card should not have been the issue. I would agree that it should not have been. However, does anybody take issue with my comment that Microsoft has never really declared exactly what hardware will trip up a digital license activation?
Yes and no. Motherboard or onboard NIC will definitely trip.
Will definitely trip, but what else might trip?
I have been told graphics cards will not do it from Microsoft.
You have been told that by somebody who works for Microsoft.
Yes. Product manager.
Okay. Sounds
only
likely.
graphics card, because that is not changing your machine.
Yeah. But if in this case, as a troubleshooter, and I don't think Dennis is going to do this, but a Doug would, a genuine Doug would.
Put the old graphics card in, it should work.
Yeah, put the old graphics card in and see if it works. If it does, then that is pretty substantial evidence that
We done.
the graphics card can do it. Yeah. Jonathan, Microsoft account limits you to 10 devices at one time. Well, define more what you mean by Jonathan. I think what you're referring to there is Microsoft 365.
Depends on the contract.
Yeah, there's a distinction there. If you're talking about a Microsoft 365 for what are their variations for business, for home and business, whatever their variations are.
Home and student, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, but
And
if you go business, you can just name your contract. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. And that has to do with how many devices you can install that Microsoft 365 suite of applications on. That doesn't mean that you can only have 10 computers associated with your Microsoft account. That's just a limitation of how many of them you can use the Microsoft 365 software on. So I think that's what the distinction is
retail
there.
Windows has always been one machine at a time.
Yeah, the license is, but when you install, let's say you have 15 computers that are your personal computer, like if you're a Doug, that could be a thing. Mm-hmm. And you connect them all to your Microsoft account. Not installing that same Microsoft 365 on all of them, but you just have them all logging into Windows with your Microsoft account. You should be able to do that on any number of computers.
Yeah, that's fine. But Microsoft 365, you buy the number of license you want. But no, I was saying Windows 11 product key is one per machine at a time.
Yes, the product key. Yeah.
Right.
You can have 15 different product keys and all associated with your Microsoft account for your Windows login. And that Windows login really doesn't have anything to do with the activation of that license, except that your Microsoft account, I suppose, is aware of that computer.
If you have a home with you yourself, you can have 15 computers logged on. Doug at Doug as your Microsoft account. Your login account where they want you to create it when you
sure.
There's no limit on that, but that has nothing to do with the product key of Windows 11 or the product key of Microsoft 365. Those are three separate things.
Right, and then I could actually change the name of each of the computers to identify which Doug gets to use that computer.
Doug Big Beast, Doug Small Beast, Doug Streaming, Doug Bedroom, Doug Bathroom. Seriously, though.
There you go. All right, so here's Rand's response to that question. They never specified it, but I remember reading somewhere that the following components factor in with varying weight, motherboard, CPU, NIC, GPU. So now we don't know where he read it from, and let's not argue it. He's saying that he remembers reading that somewhere. So did somebody come up with that somewhere, and maybe reliable, maybe not? Gary has what he's been told by Microsoft people, and I'm saying that I'm not aware that they've ever published it, and even Rand is saying they never specified it. So this could have been somebody from the industry speculating that GPU is included in that. And Gary, did you say NIC is included? No.
I thought he said Nick was included.
It is.
Nick on board.
Onboard NIC on the motherboard. So that's
Right.
that's basically synonymous with saying it's the motherboard.
Yeah.
Right, because you're not
you
going
know-
to change that routinely.
Yeah.
You may
Yeah.
have a 1 gig NIC and go to a 2.5 or a 10 gig NIC. Just pop the card out. You may
Yeah,
pop
I-
the graphics card out.
Yeah, I've had occasions where the onboard network adapter stops functioning, and I'll put in a PCI.
But you didn't get rid of the other stop functioning, but it's still the same motherboard.
Right, same motherboard, and I believe I have disabled in BIOS the NIC, but it is still present. It's still the same motherboard. So, Chris, all right. I gotta push so many buttons to switch screens now. That's the downside of this thing. Yeah, Chris Garrett is saying Doug at GaryGaryGary.com. As a way of identifying them. Zavi Minor, changing only one component does not block activation. That was with the motherboard. Now that was something that I kind of questioned at the beginning, and Zavi is using @ symbols now instead of question marks. But if you change the motherboard or CPU, does that cause a problem to activation, or you have to change both of them? I'm thinking that either one. It only takes changing one of them that blows out the activation. Do you guys agree with that?
No,
No? You think you have to change both of them before you lose activation?
I think you'll have to change both. Now, I can only attest to this because I use OEM keys. All right. I just recently, in the most recent video, one of the most recent videos I did, I swapped out a 2200G for a 5600G on the exact same motherboard. It's still activated.
Okay. Yeah,
But
so
I'm-
changing
but I'm-
one or the other, you're still good. Now,
Well,
what if? Well,
if you change the motherboard, that's going to trigger it regardless.
that's going to trigger it. Even if you use a different motherboard with the same CPU, it's not going to activate. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I use OEM keys, so that's a given
So
for me.
why even include the CPU? Because that's making it sound like really the only thing we care about, or they care about, is the motherboard. Because you could put a different CPU in the same motherboard and the activation is okay, right?
Has been for me.
All right. All right. Aliaj has got a link for us here.
To beat the dead horse, I've only had it happen
Yeah.
with that motherboard, but I have not done it as any of you guys. We don't do it. We get a trade and have
Yeah, sure.
service to it.
Sure.
So-
And I don't do that. I do very little part swapping. I generally replace computers if there's something wrong at that level. And Alias has reactivating Windows after a hardware change. This is from Microsoft. Reactivating Windows after a hardware change. Okay. So this should be telling us what hardware.
It doesn't. I checked
Doesn't say.
already.
Doesn't say.
No, but the troubleshooter, we did check that a long time ago. Only looks at video. If it looks at cards, it doesn't look at the motherboard. In other words, it doesn't even try to fix motherboard.
There's one place motherboard. If you make significant hardware change on your device, such as replacing your motherboard, but such as, okay, what such as? Well, to replace the motherboard, I got to open up the case. So does that mean if I replace RAM, that is, we know that's not the case. But what do you mean such as? That's pretty.
Gee,
Gee.
Microsoft being vague. What a
Vague.
surprise that
Yeah,
would be.
right. Windows will no longer find a license that matches your device. You'll need to reactivate, get it up and running. Significant hardware changes on your device. So, yeah, see that this is exactly what I was referring to. They were just slimy, like a flapping fish. You just can't get a hold on it. To activate Windows, yeah, I don't need to read through the rest of that. We know that they're not going to define that any better. Motherboard definitely, CPU maybe. If you change the motherboard, you have to activate it again.
Yeah.
So, but it will. You have to activate it again. Will it activate with the same license key?
Depends on the key, and also
The key,
keep in
the
mind
source of it.
the
Yeah.
source of the key, but also keep in mind that let's just say for the sake of argument, if you're replacing a motherboard in an HP or a Dell or something like that, the key's embedded in the BIOS that's in the motherboard, so it'll reactivate with it'll be technically a different key.
Yeah. Well, most store or not store bought Dell, Lenovo, whatever,
Right.
they're coming with a key already, so that's going to be a problem. But if you made it yourself, there's going to be no key in the BIOS, so you're going to re-enter the key anyway.
Yeah, well, if you're dealing with a Dell or an HP, you're just never going to come up with the issue as long as you're not replacing the motherboard. If you replace the motherboard, you're gonna have the problem because you're replacing the BIOS chip.
But the BIOS chip's going to have another key in it anyway. It's coming from an OEM.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, if you get a replacement motherboard from Dell or HP, it'll have a key in it. Got it.
Right.
Exactly.
Now I'm with you.
But it'll have to reactivate, but it'll do it automatically.
Yeah, it'll do it instantly, automatically. You won't see that happen. You won't click anything to make that happen. It just happens. Yeah. Ran Israel chaining CPU NIC GPU may trigger something. Changing just the CPU should be okay. And it really seems to me like it focuses on the motherboard. Well, let's get back to Dennis's subjects. Get to the right page here. This one. I think we finished item number 2 well enough. Item number 1. Are you saying there's something else?
No, I had a thought about what number 1 is.
Oh, okay. Well, hang on a second. Let me review it again. When cloning a fully activated Windows 11 installation from a SATA SSD to my shiny new Kingston, every time I see a shiny new NVMe, I get this picture in my mind. NVMe SSD, and I go to boot from it. I get blue screen saying inaccessible boot device.
That
all
seems
standard
like
fixes.
I apologize, Doug. My fault. I interrupted. No, it seems like he didn't do a clone. It seems like he did a copy.
Well, the multiple times I did a
Macrium Reflect or Acronis?
I did Macrium Reflect. I did a restore from an image.
No, that's a problem.
Is that
I've had trouble with that.
Is a copy or is a clone? We'll get.
Done clones.
I don't want to spoil what happened, but
okay. So let's just let me narrow down on restate what you said there. Is that your first efforts you created an image to an external drive perhaps, or to you created an image file of your original drive, and then you restored that image file to the NVMe drive.
That's correct.
And that method did not work.
Yep, that gave me the.
Did the image include all the partitions on that drive?
It had all but the one on the other side of the Windows partition. I don't even know what that's for.
That's
So
the recovery
recovery
problem. Yeah, that doesn't depend on anything really.
What you should have done, and I'm not trying to explain it, but I use Acronis for home. And first thing I do, I buy it. We use only laptops for the home business. I buy it with the 256, the lowest I can to get rid of them. Set it up, clone it. Or actually image it with Acronis, the whole drive from outside. I use the PE environment, boot to the external flash drive, image it to an external drive, put the new M2 drive in, restore it to that from an external totally. That's how I've never had an issue.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Are there multiple hard drives on this system? More than just a boot drive.
There's 3 spinning disks and SATA SSD and NVMe. One of the spinning disks had the
You
images.
installed Windows originally, like on it?
I
Were those drives
installed
present when you installed Windows?
the very first time. One was hooked up and the other 2 were not. So that's what I mean by variation of hardware.
It's just sometimes the installation can put boot files on the SATA 0 drive instead of the actual drive you're putting Windows on. So
Well, I made a point of connecting my SATA SSD to port 0.
okay. All right, that's
A couple other details I'm interested in is you said Macrium Reflect, was it the free version or the paid version? And were you doing it from an installed version or doing it from a boot USB?
I use free exclusively, and let's see. How did I do it the first time? I think I did it from within Windows.
Okay, so you had it
So
installed.
I restarted an image to the NVMe drive that way. That was the
Okay.
first time I tried it, and that failed. Cannot boot.
Okay. Just on the subject of cloning and imaging, I'm pretty comfortable with saying that I've done it both from an installed Macrium Reflect to creating an image file on an external drive, restoring that image to a different drive, and being able to boot. But I also know that I have come across troubles, and I think my resolution was the same as the resolution that you came to.
Yeah, we might as well.
And I've
spoil
also,
it.
we almost have. So, but then the other thing is I've also done it from boot USBs. And when I go to do it on any particular computer, I might choose one or the other. Let's say I'm working with a computer that I know I have Macrium Reflect already installed, and I have my boot USB. Which way I will choose to do it is a toss of the coin. But let me see if there's a couple other points before we actually tell the solution. Some people might have been getting to the point of guessing this already. When cloning, let's come back here. When cloning fully activated Windows 11 installation to my shiny new, I go to boot, I get blue screens. Now I'm actually, I think it probably wasn't actually, a blue screen is, in my mind, when I think blue screen of death, it's Windows has already loaded or partially loaded at least and has crashed and given us a blue screen of death, and there's a stop error code involved with that. But with this inaccessible boot device, I would think that that's coming. That's a BIOS error, and I think I've always seen that as a black screen with writing in the upper left area of the screen in white.
I've seen it in blue. I've seen it in blue.
Really? Seen it in blue?
Yes. I've seen it in blue.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen it in Windows 11. It's different colors.
Yeah, but if it doesn't have if you couldn't access the boot device, then Windows 11 isn't involved.
No, you're right.
Because that's on the boot device.
The bootloader loads, but it can't find the Windows installation. That's what I think is happening.
Well,
yeah.
The thing is, Doug, if you see it in black, that's BIOS. If you see it in blue, that's Windows.
Okay,
Windows
so it is
Windows is attempting to load and something it sees it doesn't like.
Yeah, so maybe perhaps Windows starting to load and then runs into a problem and interprets that problem as inaccessible boot device, and it is an actual Windows blue screen reporting. I can't access that device now. I was able to. I started loading, but it's inaccessible to me now.
Generally, you'll see that. Yeah, generally, you'll see that if the SATA mode is set to either IDE as opposed to AHCI, you'll see that more often in that configuration.
Yeah, my thoughts were speculating along those lines too, and other potentials in BIOS. Now, so with that conversation, Dennis, do you think that that actually was a BIOS message or a Windows message that you were getting?
I think it was coming from Windows.
Okay. Okay.
There's and what Windows 10 and Windows 11 don't have stop codes anymore. They actually have. Well, I don't know about 10 to be honest, but 11 literally spells out inaccessible boot device because that's what they want you to tell the
Okay.
technician when you call them.
Okay.
I have a comment when you get a moment.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Okay, I'm looking at Zvi, who's saying what SATA was MBR or GPT. If that were the case, and that would be a BIOS issue. It wouldn't be a Windows in it. You'd get inaccessible boot device on a black screen, which would indicate BIOS. If it's you're talking about whether the drive is MBR.
Okay. Yeah.
These are GPT from.
Yeah, but if the BIOS was set to, if for some reason the BIOS was set in compatibility mode, which indicates MBR, and the drive is GPT, BIOS.
Jim, we lost you. Jim, your audio's gone wonky.
Hang on.
I hear you now.
Yeah, just give me a second. Hang on. Let me switch over to the desk mic. I'm using the wireless, and maybe the wireless is being a little funky.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, it should be good now.
Okay.
Okay now? Let me turn
Go
this.
ahead with what you were saying.
Okay, anyway. If the BIOS was set in what's referred to sometimes as CSM or compatibility mode, and the drive is formatted GPT, you'll get inaccessible boot device, but it'll be a black screen indicating the BIOS says, I have no idea what you're trying to do here. If, on the other hand, the BIOS for the IDE interface, or the SATA interface, excuse me, the SATA interface is set to IDE as opposed to AHCI, Windows will attempt to start loading, and then it'll go, what the hell? And that'll be inaccessible boot device on a blue screen. So it depends on where in the process it happens.
So anyway, the BIOS on this motherboard is set to default. All default. It's a brand new motherboard. It's a B450 for Ryzen. And
UEFI.
so it's UEFI, the whole 9 yards by default.
Yeah. Some BIOSes will just have both enabled, and you usually don't see a problem.
There is one place in the BIOS that says it's using an other OS, which implies that it's not using secure boot. But so right now I'm not using secure boot anywhere as far as I know.
Yeah, secure boot wouldn't cause inaccessible boot device that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Your guess is good as mine. What caused the boot inaccessible boot device? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we got better information once we find out what your solution was, because I think your solution really gives us something to go on.
All right, so we're gonna let the cat out of the bag or what?
Well, let me.
Yeah, really, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me get this other piece. Yeah, well, we knew that, Ken. I'll get this other.
Ouch.
We got this other. Oh yeah, so just let me point out that it was booting off of the SSD drive, and now we're booting off the NVMe. So there's that difference to consider, and I think that kind of goes into the clue. So Dennis, why don't you go ahead and tell us the story about how you fixed it?
Essentially, I just like 2 hours ago, I decided to let's try a clone in a pre-installation environment using a Macro Reflect USB device or a USB key, a flash drive. And I decided to do a direct clone from the SATA drive to the NVMe drive. That finished up, and I went to my UEFI settings, and I went in and I disabled all of my SATA ports. Then I rebooted, and the NVMe booted perfectly fine, no problems. I said, "Oh, I need to reboot so I don't lose my activation."
So you didn't. So the first time you had both drives in when you tried to boot? Both?
Oh, every time, all the
Always had all
hardware
the
was,
drive. Yeah,
yeah, all the hardware
you have
was.
to take the old drive out
Yeah, that's part
or
of the problem.
disconnect it.
Yeah, the SATA drive was still there, which you needed to have removed it. Then it probably would have been fine.
It depends on the motherboard. They'll ask you which one if they're both valid boot drives.
It's Asus motherboard.
I mean, I'm not familiar with, I'm not a motherboard person, but if you have two boot drives, like you clone it and then reboot without taking them out, at least on most of the computers we use, it'll ask you which one. So if you're not quick enough.
Yeah, I've been. Last night I was disconnecting the SATA drive and it still was giving me the error. So.
Okay,
But
so with
clone
the,
it,
so
it
anyway, this morning I decided to do the clone and disabled the SATA ports. It worked. Went back in and enabled all the SATA ports, which involves 4 drives, 3 spinning in the SSD with the other installation of Windows on there. Went back in and the NVMe worked. The NVMe booted again fine, and I know it was NVMe because I checked the properties in the disk management.
And it had to do with the image backing up. When you did it for the external drive, it got all the boot stuff. I bet.
It probably might be it. Yeah.
well, another closely related idea that forms in my mind is the when you're using Macrium Reflect or any other imaging tool, making an image to a file, the primary intention of that is to be able to restore that image to the same drive or a similar drive. Is it possible that these cloning tools are doing something different when we're actually saying we want to clone from this drive to a different drive? And it's recognizing that one is a SATA SSD and the other is an NVMe drive. Is there something different that it's doing? I don't think that I've ever come across an environment where I've been able to prove that. The way I would prove that is to take an SSD image, create an image to an external drive, and then restore that image to an NVMe and see if it'll boot. And it is quite possible that that is the environment where I've had trouble in the past, because I have had situations that sound similar to what you're describing, but I can't swear to the details of those situations. That's
Well, right now,
believable.
as it stands, it's bootable and it's activated, and that's it.
And you have no intention of behaving like a Doug and tracking down some other variations.
It depends what happens. If it deactivates, I might do all kinds of crazy stuff.
How did you get it activated?
It was the original activation from 2 nights ago or 3 days
It
ago.
just did it automatically.
Just automatically.
It stayed activated.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just a clone from one drive to another. So
well, he said he was having problems with activation. I thought
that was
was
when
a
he was
different
doing
computer?
a fresh install. That was a
Okay,
fresh
okay.
install on that NVMe drive. Yeah.
As was the SSD 3 days ago, but that activation took when I selected my hardware change source key, which came from an older machine. The older machine, I think, had a retail key. That's why it allows you to do that. It allows you to transfer the key to another piece of hardware.
Is there some kind of deactivation process you have to go through for the old one?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. So I'm guessing maybe a few.
I can't turn that machine on anyway. The motherboard's toasted.
All right. But if you've actually achieved a transfer of that key to another computer, would the original computer no longer be activated if it was still a functioning computer?
It would probably deactivate itself.
Seems
Say,
like it should.
you're not activated. But as I said, that motherboard's long dead.
All right. Well, congratulations on getting it solved.
Thank you. And by the way, we had a question about them working on kill GPUs. That's just
Kill
UK.
GPUs.
Yeah,
what
it's
is
a
that?
UK humor for dead GPUs.
Oh, okay.
They like saying, "Oh, this GPU is kill."
All right. It's their slang. All right.
It's just UK slang for dead.
Going
And
on.
it's pronounced adamant.
Adamant.
IT.
I was about to say that because I think you had clarified that to me before. Adamant, as in I am adamant that multiple Dougs in your life is a good thing.
That's good. I like that.
Okay. Elias asked a question here. I think it's a question. Is it? I tried to activate my Windows 10 with key from my broken Toshiba laptop until one day it stopped working, and I called Microsoft and explained to them what I did, and they activated it. Okay. So he called Microsoft and was able to get an activation. Windows 10 with a key from my broken Toshiba laptop. Well, Toshiba, wouldn't that be an OEM license?
Seems to me you can't transfer that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to.
When you call them, they'll pretty much let you do it. Almost anything.
Yeah, I kind of think they're not going to go through a whole lot of hoops. If you've taken the time to call them and wait to actually speak to a person, I suspect they're kind of lenient.
Plus, if they said it's disabled, the Toshiba is what? How long has it been disabled? Toshiba's what, about 4 years now?
Say your question again.
How old are Toshiba laptops? Because they haven't been made for a while.
I don't know.
Sold to Dynabook about 5 years ago.
So they probably figured it's not being used, so they didn't get really,
So they, let's see. I'm trying to activate Windows 10 with key from my broken Toshiba laptop. Is he implying on a different computer? He's trying to activate it on a different computer?
I would think so, yeah.
Because it's a broken laptop. Until one day it stopped working. I tried to activate my Windows 10 with a key, using a key from my broken Toshiba. That's implying a different computer. Until one day it stopped. That implies it was working for a while and then it stopped working?
No, it was a Toshiba.
I don't know. Yeah, but we don't know that his replacement computer was a Toshiba. Oh, he's got more stuff here. Toshiba was Windows 7 laptop. Yes, on this PC I use now, which says it was a different one.
Yeah, Windows 7. Yeah, they're not going to be that picky about that.
Yeah, right. Only they ask is what happens to laptop. Okay, then this was Zavi about the Dennis's issue. The SATA was MBR GPT, and Dennis answered they were the old drive and the new drive were both GPT. I had the same problems with the Cronus clone SSD to SSD. In the end, indicate that after cloning, the target will not boot, so I make an image. So is he saying that he did a direct clone from one drive to the other and that didn't work, but he made an image, install a fresh Windows 10 to the SSD, and then afterward restore the C partition? That was a thought on my mind too. Where
I tried that and it didn't work. Still couldn't boot.
Let me describe for the people who didn't understand that, and just to be sure that Dennis, you and I are talking the same thing.
Yeah.
You installed. Now you're dealing with Windows 11, not Windows 10. You installed fresh Windows 11 on the NVMe, and then restored only the C partition to that.
Yes, I tried that
from your image file.
Right.
And then when you
emphasis on the image file and not a clone from the actual partition.
Because you'd have to be doing it from an image file to get to restore only the C partition. And then you restarted the computer and got the same error message.
I still got an inaccessible boot device.
Okay.
So there was something wrong with the BCD. If you all know what that is.
No, on the C partition, the boot BCD.
I forgot the name of it now, but it's something to do with
configuration data. Boot configuration data, is it? Somebody will come up with that.
Look it up.
Now, when you made the image, did you have the verify option selected?
No,
So
I
that
had it
would
off.
verify? You had that
I
off?
had it off.
Okay, so that might have been a piece of it too. All right, continuing in chat. Install, yeah, okay, finish that one. Gary to Zvi, did boot from a flash drive to do the clone? Oh, okay, so you're asking if that was Cronus clone SSD to SSD. Okay, so that could have been from booted from a USB or from or it might have been an installed version. And Gary's asking which that was. Zvi says yes, a Cronus 2020 Linux version. So that was yes in regards to it was a flash drive. Toshiba was Windows 7. Yes, on this PC I use now. We've already hit that. We can talk about this next week via Zoom if you want to. Sure. If you come into Zoom next week and give us I think we'd have a better understanding of your experience with you coming into Zoom. That'd be great. Send me an email. I don't know that I have your email address already. Just send me an email asking for the Zoom credentials. Kenny Wood, and after Windows 8, the product key is embedded in the motherboard. That was not the case with previous operating systems. After Windows 8, was Windows 11. What's after Windows 8 other than Windows 10? Windows 10. Yeah.
Windows 8
Embedded.
and 8.1.
Say again?
Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and then
Right.
Windows 10,
Then 10.
and then 11.
Okay. Embedded in the motherboard. The only embedded in the motherboard with major manufacturers, where the key is embedded in the BIOS.
Yeah. OEMs put the key
only
into the BIOS.
OEMs. So
into the
after
BIOS.
Windows 8, the product key is not embedded in the motherboard if you're doing custom builds. They're digital licenses. Boot configuration data. There we go. Aliaz says, I will later. Send me the email. Yeah, it'd be great to have you in. We'd like to meet you. Kenny Wood in Windows 8 and above. So I suspected that Windows 8 was included in that. That's what he meant. Now, let's go.
Some Windows 7s did have it embedded. Depends on the motherboard manufacturer. They were checking back then.
All right.
Yeah.
So we finished with Dennis' topic. Another one I'll be sure to get to is Arnold Albert's topic, clone larger unfilled drive to a smaller drive using Macrium. And I think I just barely got a demonstration set up.
That's actually easy.
Yeah, that's
try booting it. Try booting it after the fact.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it's easy to do the clone operation, but will it work?
Yeah, Macrium works great.
I've done it, and I don't think there's any special trick to it, so that's why I brought it up. I can't say that I have the process memorized, so I brought it up so I can demonstrate it on screen. And
we do have to have the less data on the larger drive than is available on the smaller drive.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's implying with unfilled drive, although he didn't specifically say that it's less than the destination.
At work or at home, I've never done that. But I know when the SSDs first started coming out from the hard drives, that was the thing that was advertised how to do it. So I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah. So on Baby Beast, I'm just launching Macrium Reflect. I have a drive attached via USB adapter to Baby Beast that is smaller than the drive that is installed on Baby Beast. And so what I was going to do is do a clone to the externally connected drive of the actual Baby Beast drive. And all we need to do is get to the point of being able to see the partitions, how they appear. But I'll go ahead and start it just to prove it. All right, so let's go punch up Baby Beast, bring Baby Beast up on screen. There it is. Bring my keyboard and mouse over to XSplit, see if I can drive by looking at this small screen. Nope, I'm already turning to. I just automatically turned. Did you notice that? I said, let's see if I can do this, and I just turned. Criminy. Okay, so this first disk that's showing here is a external Macrium backup drive that I have connected. And since the drive that Baby Beast actually boosts from is an NVMe, it doesn't actually show up in the first position. So then here is a Samsung SSD 931 terabyte. And then down here, number 3 is a 300 gigabyte. That's the one that I'm going to clone to. And here we see the C drive. So that is Baby Beast C drive, and it shows 152.44 gigabyte in use. And the drive that we're going to is a 300 gigabyte drive. All right, so I'm going to click. When I want to go into Macrium Reflect, it's automatically on the Create Backups tab. I can click on the drive that I want to image or clone. I could choose either here image or here clone. So I'm going to choose clone, and I'm going to try to clone to this disk, which has content on it. I don't care about that content, so we're going to overwrite it. So click and clone this disk, then select a disk to clone to, and I do need to be careful that I get the correct one. So I'm going to be looking for disk 3. I'm going to be looking for 298 gigabytes. Now the source is GPT. The destination currently has an MBR. When I select disk to restore to, it is showing me both of the other drives that are available. I'll click on disk 3. Then I'll click on copy partitions. When I click on copy partitions, it's going to copy these down to here, but that's what's going to notice that there's not enough space. It should ask me a question. So I get the options here of exact partition, offset in length, or shrink or extend to fill the target disk. So I'm going to click this one so that it automatically shrinks or extends as needed. And there they are. So this primary partition here, which will become the C drive when a computer boots from it, showing 152.44 gigabytes, which is what the original has.
That's the only one that shrunk.
Yeah, that's the only one that shrunk. The others should stay the same.
Yeah,
it didn't need to steal from anyplace else.
Right. So it only shrunk the C drive. Did that?
You don't want to shrink those others because that can cause issues down the road.
Right. So it knew what it could shrink and went to that. And I'll go to advanced options to see what I want to do here. I don't want to do a forensic copy, and I couldn't do that with shrinking a partition. Forensic copy would have to have even the empty space copied. Verify file system, rapid delta clone, and enable SSD trim is all selected. Nothing else I need to do there. Click OK, then click Next. And then this is for scheduling. I'm not going to schedule it. Click Next. And then it's showing me a summary. I can look through the summary if I want to. Then click Finish. And then I can run it now. And I don't need to save that backup definition because that's not going to be a backup operation I'm going to repeat. And run this now, click OK, and we should see it off and running. All target volume data will be overwritten, so I have to click a checkbox to confirm that, and then click Continue. And there it goes. It's done. Whoop, what came up on top there? Oh, it brought up it brought up File Explorer for the partition that it just completed. So it's doing operation 1 of 4, 2 of 4, and now it's working on the C drive now. So that one's going to take longer. It's off and running.
And in case you wondered, I used the for that options area that you were in just now.
Yeah.
Just a bit ago. I use all defaults, which is the intelligent copying.
Yeah. And I don't think I changed any of the defaults, did I? Now, if you're making a backup image, then I think by default the verify checkmark is not selected. And so I do have the habit of going to select that. Let's see, Kenny, referring to laptops when he's talking about the issues with the Toshiba, on the embedded license. Arnold Albert, so he's got a thumbs up and a happy face. So that was his question. That was his issue about imaging to a smaller drive.
Yeah, as long as the partitions aren't filled up, it shouldn't be any issue.
Right. Yeah, that was Arnold. Continuing on, Tom K, hello to you. Tom K, didn't I get an email from you recently? I think I might have a question pending from him that maybe I didn't. I'll go look in a moment. What does the running man icon in the partitions menu mean? Oh, number 3. Oh, that's right. Number 3 is his topic. What does the running man icon in the partitions mean? Let's go see what that was. I don't know. He's referring to a running man icon. Oh, here. Seems to me like I have looked at that before. I don't know. I don't know offhand what that is. See if somebody does some Googling around and figures it out. Arnold says, awesome. I was asking mainly because of the resizing. Wasn't sure if it was automatic or manual. So automatic once you select that option. And if you don't select that option, just if you select the one that says the same size partitions, it's probably going to tell you can't do that or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go look at Tom's question. Oh, yes. What security suite is one of the best? Well, okay.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
Can I interject something before you go too deep on that one?
All right.
Which is the reason, because I have an opinion on that one. It will not be the opinion everybody will agree with, but some will. This is corporate only. We have and you have clients too, I'm sure, that deal with insurance on data or a liability of exposure of their data. In that instance, right now, the corporate law firm that we deal with that will defend us in lawsuits, they're recommending Windows Defender because there's like no lawsuits that have been lost throughout the country using that.
Oh, interesting piece of information. The attorneys.
I mean,
involved.
I'm sure there's one or two, but the idea being that is, when you go to court saying you're using it in a Windows environment and you're up to date, you're doing your due diligence. And that's their term, due diligence, which is a good attorney term.
All right.
For each individual operation, I won't say that, but I'm more worried about getting sued. I'm worried about the data, but we got backups, so I'm not concerned about. I can get the data back in an hour. I can't get your exposure back if it's in the Wild West.
So let me rephrase what you said, Gary, in the form of a question. The attorneys are saying there's never been a lawsuit lost when Windows Defender was involved. Does that imply that the other third-party antivirus products have lawsuits have been lost?
Yes.
when those are
what I asked.
used. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they were lost because they were using those other products. This
Again, they go out in the wild and they say, well, just like people on all channels, oh, Mac could be Norton, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'll respond to the question with what I do with my clients. I have all my clients on Windows Defender. I don't like having my clients with any third-party products because of the troubles that I've encountered with third-party products. The troubles have been with the third-party product misbehaving, causing some damage to the operating system that I wind up doing a wipe and reload. Now, I couldn't prove that it was the antivirus product that did it, but it's a guilt by association thing. Next piece of that is when I've come across compatibility issues with third-party software. Next is when the product falls out of date and the end user is not reporting messages that are popping up on their screen. So they just click them away. And even where the product goes out of license or subscription expired and they don't report it to me, it is the extra cost. And I don't have a reason to say that this is better. Now, I know there are tests out there where people will run antivirus products against a certain test, and I don't know the motivations of the people funding the test. You can show just about any product to perform really well compared to others if you structure the test in a way that will do that. I've experienced a wide variety of different third-party antivirus products.
Never mind.
Dennis?
I'm sorry.
My throat. I've experienced a wide variety of products. Now, back prior to Windows 10, Windows protection was not adequate. I guess it's an emotional topic for me. I don't know. No,
Write that down.
Jeez. But Windows 10's been doing really, really good. It used to, before Windows 10, I was doing major virus remediations at least once a month, where somebody's computer got infected and had protections in place. Could have been expired protection, but anyway, problems. Windows 10 came along, and after it settled in and found its sea legs, it's been a long, long time that I've had to do any kind of virus remediation work. And Windows Defender just runs smoothly. Now, I do check the settings on it. Anytime I set up a computer, there's a couple things that are not on by default that I will turn on. If somebody's got a particular something about a third-party antivirus product that does a certain protection that they want so that they can sleep better at night, hey, fine, I'm not going to argue them out of it. In fact, I do have one client who does have a paid subscription for an antivirus product that they keep renewing, and I just have to let them do it. In fact, it's one of their staff people that does the updates himself, and he seems to stay on top of it. So I don't try to argue them out of it. All right, any other comments? I'm going to mute for a couple seconds.
Actually, something went back on that. The other part I agree with you is interoperability. The more you run from one company, the less problems you have. You don't put a GM engine in your Ford car and not to expect problems. Or vice versa.
Yeah, and everybody knows that, what was it? Security Essentials, I think it was, on 7 was a horror show. It did nothing for the most part. It did nothing. And yes, I've cleaned off more of those machines than I care to think about, because of the simple fact that people let subscriptions expire. It's just like they don't either pay attention to it, or they don't want to be bothered, or they don't want to spend the money, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. I've seen more of my share of that than I care to think about.
Well, it's like Acronis right now. They want you to put on. They have bought Bitdefender. That is who their antivirus software is.
Okay.
Literally the same program. So compare them side by side. And I don't have the latest version on the personal at home. Well, I don't have any at home. I put it on one computer and make the flash drives. I don't even use it on the computer because everything's even at home is saved on the servers.
Now, a kind of related topic is the research work, the cybersecurity research work that some of the third-party antivirus manufacturers do. I'm very thankful for them doing that, because they do come up with some stuff. So we got. I think we've probably fielded that question sufficiently.
Hey, Doug, can I bring up another quick thing? Directly,
yeah,
right
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It actually came up Friday. My typical Friday at work is get in about 5:30 to 6, work until about noon. Sometimes lately I've been watching you. Get ready to leave, have lunch, leave about 1 o'clock, do some personal things and get home by dinner time, whatever. That's too personal. But anyway, we had a meeting afterwards, called a meeting, kind of go over some crap, no big deal. Our corporate attorney comes in, says, we got a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? We have a new HR person who, I signed off. She was hired, 3 months ago. Well, in the past 2.5 months, she's been investigating. I think she'll be our ex-HR person. I mean, I'm suing her right now. I'm not going to say any words that would be bad. But anyway, somebody called from home and said, we are spying on their home computer, which is not at all true. We are spying on our computer at her home, not her computer. And we're not spying. We are making sure she doesn't go to, let's just say X-rated sites, right. Anything that could get us in trouble if you got on our system, or any place that has exposure. We don't even count keystrokes. As long as you do your production, we don't care. But you can't use your machine to go, like I said, watch. You can't watch YouTube all day if your job is collections.
Right.
YouTube is not collections information. So in that instance, no more than we would monitor your phone calls. We don't listen and say, oh, you're talking to grandma, but why have you on the phone to non-work for 3 hours today? You would do that in the office. It's nothing special that you're at home, and it's not your home computer. Matter of fact, a home computer is not getting our network. And talking about Defender, that's why I was bringing up security, because I saw your thing. Right now, we have it set up. You cannot use a flash drive or an external drive on any of our computers.
Yeah.
Corporate wide.
Okay. That's a common thing amongst companies of your size and security concerns.
We are now limiting anything to be plugged into, because we found out in the wild there's a device that's emulating a keyboard that's actually can load a program in.
Right.
So now we're actually sending keyboards. So if you want an external keyboard, or an ergonomic keyboard because your wrists or whatnot, we'll send it to you immediately, FedEx the next day, if you're working at home or at the office. But it has to be one of our keyboards or it will not install.
Okay.
So that's why Defender works fine for us, because you're not downloading programs. You can't run the programs. The computer is strictly, you're my age, 60, whatever. You remember the basic, the terminal, dumb terminal. That's what a computer is nowadays. It's strictly for work. So in that instance, yeah, we're making sure you're doing work. Okay. Just in case anybody brings that up, because people are like, no, we're not spying. Like, we don't care what you get in 1 or 2 emails, but if you're running a business off your work computer, you don't work for us then. You work for you.
Okay, so let me confirm the one thing that I really wanted to grab onto there and all that was that you've got an employee who discovered that you are monitoring your computer at her home, and she's upset about that, right?
Right.
Okay, and yeah, absolutely, you're within your rights to do that, and you kind of implied that maybe she's going to be an ex-employee.
Oh, no, not her. The
Oh,
human
not
resource
her.
person has been hunting it for 2 months, 2.5 months without telling anybody.
Okay. Okay.
Any problems with the company? If you're working at a desk and you did get onto a site, let's say, and it offends the worker next to you, we can get in trouble for letting you do that. The corporation can. Work environment. So if you went to one of your law offices that you work with, and one of the clerks was looking at an X-rated site, watching videos, somebody else may go to the senior partner and say, "Hey, there's a problem with this. I'm offended seeing that." So if we have somebody at a desk going to a bad site, the person next to them may complain. So that's what we're looking out for.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to move on.
Sure.
Because maybe I'll go back and listen to that in replay, because that was kind of long, meandering. I'm not sure I got all of it, so I might go back and listen to it. Let's get back here to this, is where I was trying to get to.
Sure.
And in chat, what does the running man icon, did I get asking? Yeah, I went back a little bit. Don't forget to like the video from Ryan. Thank you. And did I miss any people? Let's see, what do you think of Norton and ESET? No, that's what I want to get to. Is ESET was my most recent favorite third party. In fact, I'll still turn to them if I'm suspecting a machine infected. I like their offline scanner tool. Expensive for recall. Renewal. Oh, I'm caught up. All right, so I'm going to show that over here on Baby Beast, that clone operation is still going. We don't care about it finishing. It just show that it did continue going. Ken Stout is asking about number 6. Push the bright buttons here. There.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one myself.
All right, I'll go get to 6 and see what that is. 6, my ideas for rebranding. Oh, I actually needed to get to that one. Let's see, I have shown you bits and pieces about that After Effects template that I bought. I finally have that ready to publish, and it has to do with rebranding. Now, at one point I was contemplating changing the name of the channel. I'm kind of leaning away from that. I know it's a little long and cumbersome, and the meaning is a little bit vague and nebulous, but I do have a domain name and email set up with that LiveWindowsTraining.com already. But really what I wanted to go to is put some marketing efforts and focus on the piece that I think that I'm good at, where my expertise is. Because what I started with and what I want to get back focused on is what I wanted to be doing with this channel, and that is to be providing free computer support through remote connections and Zoom sessions. I've had several people that I've assisted with doing support for them that way, where they come into a Zoom session. We got the two of us on the screen. I'm connected remotely, may have the Zoom, have the chat room involved, providing their thoughts and guidance as well. In filling up content to be able to keep producing content, I've been doing too much, in my opinion, too much of I had the word that I love the word, and it's escaped. Stumble bumming around, because there's a lot of subjects that I know a little bit about, or a moderate amount about, but haven't been doing regularly day in and day out. So I don't have as high of a level of expertise. For example, the Wireshark was one of those. I hadn't had it open for quite a long time, and then I create a video with it. Stumble bumming, I'm defining as I'm kind of finding my way through it without much, if any, show preparation for it. The bumming part is leaning on you guys to help me with it. You go do a Google search and give me a command to do. The DNS was a little bit weak in my presentation as far as not having reviewed it well recently, but getting somebody coming in who's got a problem that either I can connect remotely or have them in the Zoom session and we can work through the solution, and with people in chat, with people in Zoom, adding in, I think that I'm good at coordinating the efforts of myself and the other people that have been involved in this. And that's what I want to put some marketing efforts into, that getting people coming to me, coming to us with questions and things that they're trying to fix. Now, some of them are going to be end users, such as, it's John Krikorian. He came with a problem with his computer not waking up from standby mode, and Harold Gallagher wanted to swap upgrade his SSD drive from a spinning drive to an SSD. We worked with him through that. Those are end user type situations. And then other questions will come from people who have some technical competence and have already been through some efforts in trying to solve it, have already done some Google searching, and those will be a little more challenging. Dennis Thompson's issue today was one of those. He has built computers. He's not a computer technician by profession, but he is reasonably competent. He's not just an end user. And there's a lot of people in this community that have come asking questions that they've already done a lot of work on, so we can bring them into Zoom session and have verbal conversations and try to find solutions. So I want to play this, and I just realized that I've got this partially set up, but not completely set up. I have uploaded this promotional video. It's less than a minute long. What I'd like to do is set it up as a premiere that's going to play after we end this live stream. So you're going to actually get an auto redirect to it when we get ready to end this live stream. It's less than a minute long. Doing it as a premiere means the chat room is open for anyone who's willing and would like to participate in this. I'd like you to just show up in that chat room and just say hi, or I'm here. There's not going to be enough time for any length of chat room. I'd like to see a few people show up there so that if the YouTube algorithm triggers with this and I get some response from it, it should bring some customers into us. Call them customers. Of course, it's free support. So that's kind of is the response to what that question means. So I want to play that video for you, but before I go to that, let's see if there's any responses or questions from Zoom just from that much, or from chat from that much.
I got a question.
Okay.
Does this mean your redirects are no longer going to go to Daily DaVinci?
No, it does not mean that. This is a one-time redirect.
I was worried.
He'll redirect 1 minute to you, Ken.
Okay.
No, Doug, actually, I read that obviously most of us had, I'm sure. I was wondering, because I'm personally interested in some of the things you do on a daily basis. I mean, not to the nth degree of what you do, but kind of some of your, I don't know what you would categorize them, but, you're just turning the monitor on and off instead of the computer, those type of things.
Yeah, so that's like the Tech Tales type of stories.
Yeah.
Those would still be present. and it wouldn't only be helping outside people, but I want to get more of those. The thing about doing what's the cybersecurity thing that I was working on? Oh, tryhackme.com. That I started doing those because that was filler. Basically, it's a struggle for me to come up with a topic every day. If I can get people coming to us, asking questions, that's a whole lot easier to deal with. But these things that are coming up in my daily work, like the rack mount server, I would still do that type of thing. And I would probably do more of putting together videos offline and uploading them as premieres. They would be what I consider higher production quality than what I did with Wireshark and with tryhackme.com. I think of those as stumble bumming.
I have one more suggestion, and I'm not a YouTube person as far as content and making, or
Yeah.
whatever you call it, but I'm trying to be correct. Well, I'm looking at Windows Daily 80. Fixing Windows update failure, you could maybe put a little bit, I hate to say the word because I found it actually interesting. I don't mean that the wrong way, but make it more of a, I don't mean to say it this way, but clickbait. More people would see it and want to come and get more experiences in the chat room.
For
right now
such
you
as
can fix-
Go ahead.
I was going to say, right now, if I go into search it, just Windows Update or something, I have a problem with it, I come up with like 40 pages.
Yeah, there are topics that get better search results, and I think I can address your comment here by showing this screen. Here, this is showing my YouTube Studio. I'm on my uploaded videos list, and these are sorted by popularity. So my highest viewed video is 18,315 of my uploaded videos. And that was Windows 11, my speculation of what it will be. Well, back in that time when I put that out, that was a highly popular topic. So I'm interested in doing those kind of things, but not. I don't see me making my focus of this channel of putting out videos that are going to get high search results.
Well, I didn't.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt like that. And I don't mean high search results. I mean, well, as an example, I realize the IP, and I don't even know what that is in Michigan, and maybe it is, I really don't know. But that obviously triggered with people. Windows 11, let's say use the Windows update failure. Literally putting Windows 10 or 11 update failure might get more searches, which will get more people to chat, which get more experiences that you may be able to investigate. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
In other words, just adding Windows 10 or 11 update failure. Oh, and I'm having Windows update failure.
Do I have a video that's titled Windows Update Failure, and you're saying it should have been identified as 10 or 11?
Yeah, whatever it was. I mean, I don't remember now. Well, your Windows Daily number 80.
Yeah? Oh, Windows Daily at number 80. All right, let's go find that one.
I mean, that's just a marketing thing, not a,
Yeah.
It'll be right after 79, Doug, just to help you out.
I think it was 481.
So you mean be more specific in the titles? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or more. God, I hate buzzwords, but yeah, good. More even general, because Windows update failure, I mean, I can't find that if I'm looking for it. If you say a little bit more what you're literally doing, so I could say I'm having a Windows 11 update failure. Oh, there you go. It's like people searching Google.
This way.
Oh, you're in. Okay,
Daily.
you're not. You're in.
Yeah,
studio.
here it was an upload. It was an uploaded video. Windows Daily 80 fixing a Windows update failure. So Windows 10 update failure.
Or is it the same? Actually, it is the same correction for 11, but
Yeah. Was that? I'm sure that was a Windows 10
But okay, if I
issue.
type Windows 10 failure, I might not get that one first. Well,
Okay,
here,
I'm with you.
my argument right now, I'm looking at it here. I'm going to say I'm having a problem updating Windows 10. Update failure. Windows 10 update not working. Okay.
Windows update failure.
Yeah, I'm just saying words. I put in not working.
Yeah.
That I'm just Joe user. I said it's not working.
Yeah. Well, I follow what you're saying, Gary, and that is on my mind when I do titling. And I had actually one video during the last few weeks that actually got Google search results without being in YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a something that's on my radar.
Which would get more viewers, which would get more opportunity for more people to ask questions.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. I'm on the.
And that would not be
same
changing
page.
anything that you already. I mean, that is what you did do. That's all I'm saying.
All right. And if you notice, or anybody else that's watching the channel notices a title that you think could be improved, I can change titles after the fact. Please let me know.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you. Okay. So was there any other in Zoom on that topic before I move on to showing the video?
Real quick, before you share your video, can I bring something up?
Yeah.
So last night I mentioned the fact, or it was brought to my attention, there's a guy by the name of Alex Sheik 3000 has done 3 videos that involve me, Alex, and me. And I contacted YouTube about it last night, and I got an email back this morning. And it says, "Hi there. We are unable to identify a violation of our privacy guidelines in the content you reported." I think the word disappointment is not putting it the way that I really want to put it. So I've got to figure out a different way to pursue this.
Is this person is this person actually republishing your content?
He's taking things from my content and creating videos. Some of it's rather disturbing. Some of it there's no way in hell or high water I would ever do anything like that publicly or privately for that matter. And I did file a complaint with YouTube. And the response I got was that. Now, it does say I can file a copyright complaint, but I don't think there's a copyright violation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to get more into it, I guess.
Ken, could you?
Yeah, Gary.
Would it be possible I can't find it. I'm looking at Zoom because I want to look at it again. And maybe Doug might want to look at it. Could you put it in the Zoom chat?
Yeah, if I can find it. Wintermute's probably better equipped to do that than I, but let me go see if I can find it.
By request, I prefer you send me by email. Send a link by email.
Okay. If I can find it, sure.
Okay, you got my email, I think, don't you?
I do.
What was the name again? Alex 3D?
I thought it was Alex Cheek 3000, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it started with 3, but I think it's just 3000. Plus, I searched.
Yeah, I know it was Alex something 3000, but
I'm interested in looking at that. So please send me a link when you find it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good.
Might take me a minute.
Alex Fan 3000.
Alex Fan 3000?
Yep.
Works for me.
Okay. I think I'd rather you not get too specific about that on this.
Yep, I'll send you the email. I got it.
Yeah, because we don't need to promote him by getting more specific about it during this video. All right.
Nope, we do not.
All right, let me move on. Was there anyone else in Zoom chat that wants to ask any other questions about my rebranding conversation? Yeah, I'll take that as a no. Let's go look at, I've got some service people at my front door.
Pizza?
No, I'm having some repairs done on the house, and I don't know it's that it's them. So Can you guys kind of run the show for a minute?
Sure.
Oh,
We
I
can
think
do that.
I think we can BS our way through a couple of minutes.
Greg's not here. I'll show DaVinci Resolve. We're fine.
They're coming to take his internet out.
Yeah, really.
There you go.
Comcast wants their router back.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? The hell. Interesting. I'm curious to know which video of his got in the Google search results. That kind of interests me.
I think it was either the IP or the Windows 11 update speculation.
Hmm.
So I remember seeing one.
Interesting.
So Ken, is that a current picture? Is it snowing there?
That's from this morning. Thank you
This
very
morning.
little.
It is snowing here in the Detroit area, for what it's worth.
By the way, I was in shorts and barefooted when I took that picture. My wife was going, "You crazy?"
Oh, she's just figuring that out?
Yeah, it's
Actually-
taken her 15 years to understand that.
A little slow on the uptake, aren't we?
I have 2 DougBetts videos on Google.
I
on the
cannot
third
neither
one.
confirm or deny that she may be watching this broadcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if we hear the clank of a fry pan, we know that she heard you.
She's at work, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, you're safe until she gets home anyway.
That's true. Check your email, Gary.
Thank you. I actually got it from whenever we put it in.
Well, fine.
But thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, we didn't listen to it last night. I didn't have a chance. I actually wanted to hear what it's actually said.
It's still snowing.
I'll go check while I refill my coffee. I don't know. Hope not.
Well, but I haven't seen it since I came up to my office to watch this. I was looking quick at the Indiana Ohio State game, and it was snowing there.
Oh yeah, that looked like that was a right on the back edge of your seat game.
Who's winning?
Ohio State won by about 75 points.
Wonderful. So Michigan's not going number
Okay.
2 this week.
I'm back. I'm back.
Ah.
We're not done. Can you go do some more repair work, please?
Well, what I'll do is I'll go kick Ken.
What you'll do is he'll kick me out again like he did one weekend. Welcome
All
back,
right.
Doug. Hope everything
Yeah.
worked out for you.
It is the repair crew that is actually doing a repair job tomorrow, but they're bringing in some supplies. Okay, so yeah, I got a couple things to get to here, and then start working on winding this down. Coming back to chat.
It has stopped snowing, by the way.
It is snowing water
Uh,
here, but it's snowing.
My turn? Okay.
No, we're not done.
Finally.
Yes.
All right, Alias, what Running Man icon means. I want to go get to that. So we'll open that in a new tab.
Mhm.
Running Man. Reboot is required after installing. Let's see, got a lot of text here.
It has to do with the differential backups you've been doing.
Ooh, I
Does
just
them
clicked on that.
faster when it had a running man thing.
This happening. Okay, does it actually give us an explanation in here? Reboot.
Yeah, it's pretty detailed.
You read through it
It's
all?
only on the Pro. I'm pretty sure it's only on the Pro.
Okay. So do I have to read through all this to grab it? What? Oh, here it is. Blue Running Man icon. This is indicated by a blue Running Man icon. Okay, so when MRCBT is enabled, reflected text that restart attribute correctly sequenced. The subsequent incremental and differential image can be generated by comparing the change block database created by on the logical drive that is stored in the previous image in the chain. This indicated by blue Running Man icon.
You've been doing differential or
Okay.
incremental backups? Or...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's why you have it.
Yeah, so running back. Okay, I'm going to try to give a description of why the Running Man icon makes sense. It's because you're still using the disk. The disk is still in operation. And so this change block something called change block database created by MRCBT, gives it the capability of just backing up what has changed since the last backup in terms of blocks. It doesn't necessarily mean just adding the additional words that you did on a Microsoft Word document. It's change blocks of data on the drive that it's going to back up, because it sees that those blocks are the only ones that have changed since the prior backup. Did I explain that reasonably?
Yep.
Okay. Coming back to chat. Ken's doing DaVinci stuff. Dennis will be back. Same OS, only GUI is new. Debate that a little bit. My understanding is, for instance, the programming of the taskbar, the actual programming code that they used behind the taskbar is different. They used a different programming engine and redid that from scratch. Of course, left out some things that some people were upset about. Now, that's my understanding from verbiage that came out through, I think, Windows Weekly and maybe Security Now. Only changed Windows 11 from Windows 10. I can see more than 4 GB on ARM's system. I think there's more change than that. Probably falls under fair use. That'd be the question about the evildoer on Ken's. Now there is a cyberbullying that has gotten some accounts taken down for cyberbullying. Who was that recently? Somebody's YouTube channel was taken down for cyberbullying. Maybe that story came through one of my brothers. I'm not sure. Hi, all. If you find fake Alex YouTube channel, report it. Also tell Alex. Well, he's already done that. YouTube responded saying it's not a violation of our policies. Also tell Alex via email about the channel. I think Alex knows about it already.
He doesn't. He's at camp, and I know a guy by the name of Z-Man got his channel taken down because they accused him of cyberbullying.
Did you say that recently on one of your shows, maybe?
I did.
Okay, yeah. I think that's probably where I heard it from. Now, I kind of like to look into that a little bit because some people don't understand what bullying is. To the bully, their bullying just says, oh, it's just being funny. It's just humor. I wasn't bullying him. I didn't mean to be mean, but it's that's not an acceptable excuse. That sounds like somebody in second grade. That's what the second grade kid says to the principal. I wasn't bullying him. It was just a joke. FYI, some people cannot email certain people due to being blocked. No funny joke. Bacon say to the tomato, let us get together. NVMe back to normal from Aliage. NVM back to normal.
Never mind.
Never mind. Oh, okay. Won't be back today. Okay. Fortnite starts at 7:15, 4:15. Yes, Dennis, that's okay. I don't think he's present. So let's see. Fortnite 4:15. Oh, that's earlier. Okay.
If you play Fortnite, do you play Fifth Night too?
Oh, gross.
That was a dad joke.
So it's an hour earlier?
45 minutes earlier.
Okay.
One of the other Dougs does that.
You're not stopping it. You're not starting on the top of the hour now. You've offset it
for Saturday. That's only for Saturday. Comprende?
I'm looking. It should still be on the top of the hour, though, right? You're not going to offset it by 15 minutes, are you?
I think he is. Yeah.
Well, that's going to really mess up my. Okay, no worries. All good.
And then I also haven't clarified yet, because Dennis and I normally connect together through the game 15 minutes before we start play. So is 4:15 our published start time, or is that when he and I get connected through Fortnite? Because typically when we start at the top of the hour, we connect 15 minutes before that to each other. Yes, Ken.
Dennis has got me screwed up enough by throwing it off 15 minutes, and now you're going to screw me up even more by throwing off more 15 minutes. So I'll just join you when I join you. Oh my goodness!
All right.
You know I'm kidding, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And you know that I'm kidding when I say we're not going to wait for you, that we're going to go ahead and start playing without you.
What?
Play with what?
I'm not kidding about that. We are going to start playing without you.
I got to take myself off camera so you guys can't see the tears flowing down.
You went to shovel your yard. It doesn't look like Arizona anymore.
I'd rather play 14 days. I guess 14 days is the name of a game. I'm not aware of it. A game not that epic. I could start 8 p.m., but I might fall asleep in the middle of a fight.
Oh.
All right. Moving on. I'm going to go. What I want to do is play this video for you so you know what's coming up. And then I'm going to set it as a premiere with an auto redirect. So when I end this live stream, you'll be redirected to that. If you're willing, interested, I'd like you to just say something in chat. Hi, I'm here, whatever it might be. It's less than a minute long. But I'm playing it for you now so that you don't have to pay attention during the premiere. I gotta go find it. Let me take this.
You want us to run the show while you go look?
No.
Darn it.
I don't. Let's make sure I'm going to get the right one here. Should be this one.
Settings, scenes and settings. Scene.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. And I'll turn off my picture-in-picture and hit the play button.
Settings, scenes and settings, scenes and sources.
Scenes and sources. Okay.
Right,
yeah, it's about a 3 or 4 year old laptop, and over time it got slow.
Here's what started this big mess. Windows 365.
Yeah, sir, I tried, but it's not working. Same, sir.
No,
I have put your mail across stating that.
Quite annoying. And most any time that I try to use my computer, I'm plagued with pop-ups.
Is that the only way that you can run the new Office? Is web-based programs?
Is somebody starting to snore?
You're boring, Doug. Sorry.
Okay, that's it. I think I muted a couple of you because you were talking during that. Can unmute yourselves now. Did I lose you all? Are you gone?
So is that, you put that together with Adobe Premiere?
After Effects. This is from the template that I had purchased for Adobe Premiere, and then I had troubles with it. It wouldn't play videos through it. So then I contacted the maker of it, and he gave me the After Effects file for it. So then I manipulated that, made some changes, and that's the result.
Okay.
So I don't know if it'll get any traction. If it does, it gets some likes in the YouTube algorithm and bring some people in, then I'm probably going to do a mobile version of that and do some other promotional type things. Now, obviously, I was making a little bit of fun of myself there with the going to sleep thing, but I thought that might help it because there's some humor in it. So that's what I want to try doing as a way to try to attract some people who want help with their computers. Now then, what I'll do for setting that up for Premiere here, this button. So here's my YouTube Studio, and go into the details for this and change the visibility to schedule, and click the check mark for Instant Premiere. Change the date to today. Change the time to 1:10 p.m. Let's see, well, let me, I could type, whoops, that's AM. That's not going to work. 15 p.m. Change it to 1:10 p.m. And done on that. Oh, and then click Setup Premiere. That's where I can choose that countdown theme. I'll go ahead and put that 1 minute countdown theme into it. Does anybody have a show coming up this afternoon that I can redirect to?
You changed it to 1:10. Is it 1 minute or 5 minute?
It's less than 1 minute long.
Okay.
Dennis has his scheduled. Fortnite.
So do you
Dennis
want
is
me?
Fortnite, yeah.
Do you need me to continue working with what I was working on in DaVinci?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you're willing to, because I'll use that too. I want to do multiple different things, and yeah, I'd like to use what you come up with. I'll change this countdown length to 1 minute. And
You can kill Alex, as he's going to delete him when he gets home tonight. And yes, he texted me from camp. And yes, you're not supposed to have a cell phone. Go figure.
Oh, so he's not doing his live
No,
stream?
he's gonna. He said he's gonna. No, he's gonna delete them.
Okay.
They were scheduled
right.
for last night and this morning.
Coming home tonight, right?
Yeah, he's coming home at 7 his time.
Where's the time? Oh, that's 1:10. And I also have to do the forward, the redirect. Am I going to get it done in time?
You got
Redirect.
3 minutes.
No.
I hope so.
I have to redirect this show. This current show, I want to redirect to that premiere, to my premiere. And it's not showing here. I think that's because I have to refresh. I better give myself another 5 minutes. Go to 1:15. Done. And this premiere, oh, this one I want set up to redirect to Dennis's show, to his Fortnite. So that premiere that you're about to see is going to redirect to Dennis's show. This live stream right now, I don't want to redirect that to Dennis. I want to redirect that to my 1 minute premiere. Let's refresh this screen. Hit here, customization, go down to redirect, and doesn't have my premiere showing. Oh, I haven't saved it yet. Done that before. That's what I did wrong when I did a redirect to one of Ken's show. I forgot to hit that save button. Now refresh this page. Sounds like they're actually working on my balcony now. I hear some hammering going on.
So can I.
Yep.
You're hearing that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we heard it.
Bang, bang, bang.
Oh,
So-
my videos. Here it is. I kept going. I'm in the habit of going to this panel because that's for sending to somebody else's channel. My videos are here. Was that Gary saying so?
No,
Somebody starting to say something?
I hit a YouTube by mistake.
You hit a YouTube by mistake. Oh, a
I
video.
followed a thing in chat.
All right.
Who posted it? Oh,
Dennis.
yeah. Didn't look.
Oh, okay. I saw that that says for
Fortnite.
Doug's eyes only, I think.
Yeah, so I hit it.
That's why you hit it. All right. I'll catch that after I end the stream, which I'm about to do here, and I've got to. I want to prevent it from sending me to that Premiere, so I'm going to pause the playback of this video. All right. That was. So it's got a few minutes to go before that Premiere runs at 1:15. We're good.
If you want to keep me or my kids out of something, put something shiny there. No locks, we don't go in. Locks, we look.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is not for you. If that's the way you're going to get them to go there. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to the Zoom participants then. Let's see. I'll
Real
camera
quick,
that way.
if I may, real
Yeah.
quick. Right
Go
after
ahead.
Doug's premiere, I'm going to start a private Zoom. It'll be open, and I'll just have the waiting room, and I'll let you guys in as you show up. Thank you.
All right. And people in Zoom, would you say goodbye to the audience for me?
Bye, guys.
Goodbye to the
YouTube,
audience
bye.
for you.
Good night, Gracie.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey, winter
I'll be back.
There you go. Okay. Hit that button and that button. So, well, that happened. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.